You know, Robert, we were talking earlier in the show about, things people are usually looking for when they sell their home. We talked about some ways that we believe, and we're not the only realtors that do stuff like this. I mean, there's tons of innovative realtors out there, but we're talking about some things that we do differently, in terms of technology. But when you're sitting down with a consumer, for the first time, I assume the value question still comes into play. They're concerned, can they get the numbers that they want to get? And just about always they want you to they want you to tell them the number like, and like you have a magic wand, right?
Right. Well, I think it's important, and what we always do is we're very honest up front with the number. But depending, again, this goes back to the way you're marketing the property, depending on how good the marketing is and how good the home is, even down to, how good the landscaping is, how good the decorating is. I mean, I went to a home this week that was decorated beautifully, it matched the home beautifully. I mean, that person's probably going to get a premium that's even above the other homes that are similar to theirs just because it's decorated nicely. So all those things impact the number, and it takes sometimes a lot of explanation to explain how you arrive to a number to somebody.
Well, and it's experience, it's the same thing, would you go to a surgeon that's operated once, or would you go to somebody that sold thousands of homes like us? We've got the experience and the pedigree to navigate through these situations, and sometimes, it's kind of hard to explain to somebody how a nicely decorated home could add value, but that's where experience comes in. When you've done it so many times, you know from experience, you've got an instinct about it. It's kind of like asking somebody, well, explain to me how you shoot a free throw, and Robert, there I went again. Right. Robert gives me a hard time because I always relate everything back to sports, but it's true, right? I mean, it's explain how you shoot a free throw. Oh, you just shoot it. Well, how did you price my home? Well, I just did it.
It's the consumer, as far as buyers, have completely changed the way they're looking at homes. And if you can set your home apart from everybody else, even with the decorating, it changes the way the consumer views that. A lot of times their behavior has changed, which goes back to the internet. Consumers are gathering as much information as they can on the front end before they even contact an agent. They're disqualifying homes and whatever, and by the time they actually contact an agent, they already usually know the home they want to see, they know what type of home they want to see. I mean, it's just like, what's happening with stores. It's kind of happening with real estate too. Consumers have just changed the way they look at real estate.
You said a really great word, disqualifying.
Correct.
And this is what people don't understand about how marketing with real estate has changed. 10 years ago, you would take somebody out and have them look at 30, 40, 50 homes. Today, it doesn't happen.
Not happening. The average is about 6 homes, and that's because the consumer is doing a lot of the legwork themselves instead of using an agent.
Right. They're disqualifying. They're going on to Zillow. They're going on to all these websites. So, home sellers out there need to understand it. They're actually looking for a reason. They're not looking to fall in love with your home. They're looking for a reason to say next. They are looking for a reason to say next. So the point is you have to look at your home objectively and listen to the advice. Show Homes does staging for us, and it's something we recommend to our clients that put their homes on the market. I think is a great tool because you can have somebody completely unbiased look at the situation and say, hey, do this, 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 and this, paint this wall, do this, and really kind of leave a slate for the buyer that they can fall in love with the home. Because without that, the consumer's looking for a reason to say next. I mean, literally, you'd be surprised. They might say next because you got a Florida Seminole flag in your man cave. They might be a big Gator fan.
Right.
You just never really know why that could happen.
Well, even, it used to be that you tell people that about landscaping, and I still do to some extent, but a lot of times it wasn't online that consumers were looking. It was driving by, so people would improve their landscaping. I mean, now they say landscaping can improve your price up to 10%. I mean, that's because the consumer is driving up to the property and they're not disqualifying the home up front.
Right.
You want to get them in the home. So even that is super important.
Right, and again, it kind of sets the tone. If the landscaping and curb appeal looks great and they've got a nice manicured lawn and nice bushes, it makes them be more inquisitive about wanting to get inside of the home. If it looks quite frankly, if it looks like crap when they drive up, they're driving on to the next house. And again, that's what the consumer's doing. And I think the tenant is doing the same thing.
They absolutely do,
management side.
I mean, they drive up. If the yard is immaculate and it looks beautiful, well, the inside of the house must look twice as nice.
Right, and it's the same thing. Like you know, an example would be buying a car. Okay, so there's an analogy that doesn't use sports. Yes, I did it today. So if you're buying a car and you walk up to it, it looks like a complete beater. It could have the most amazing motor and run like a champ, but you're probably not going to want to look at it. And that's what happens with curb appeal. If you walk up and the grass isn't well maintained and there's stains everywhere and it needs painted and it's and again I think. Our market is fortunate in that we still have a lot of investors. We still have people that want to buy homes and flip them. So can you still sell a home that needs work or needs curb appeal? Sure. But you're going to get less money. You're not going to be able to sell that home for the same, price that you could sell it if you spent a little bit of extra money. And I think one of the things we do, our advice is to give you the advice that could help you, profit more. We don't want to spend your money to tell you to do something to your house that isn't going to make you back enough money in either selling it more quickly or selling it for a better price. And I think that's really the key thing that we differentiate ourselves about is our goal is to sell your home quickly. And, on average, we've done that, historically, averaging anywhere from 15 to 20 days of our homes, going under contract. And we want to sell it for as close to the asking price as we can. So we want to price it appropriately and not negotiate much. And again, the point behind that is because the quicker you sell it and the better price you get, the more likely it is to close, the better the process is going to be, and I think consequently on the other side of that, the more money the seller's really going to net, because if they sell it quickly, they eliminate mortgage payments, and they probably got a better price. If it takes them 6, 9, 12 months to sell, they're likely going to get lowballed unless somebody just absolutely falls in love with the house, which at that point is probably uncommon, because they're going to think, hey, what's wrong with this house? Why has it been on the market so long?
Well, and that's why staging works so well,
Yeah, and again, because it separates it. So again, you listen to the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show. We're going to be right back after a quick break to wrap up the show here on 970 WFLA.